Hi, this is Joseph Tan here from AnswersAcademy.info. We're going to look at the reliability of the Bible from its circulation and translation. Question number 1. Do you know how many copies of the Harry Potter 7-book series have been circulated? The answer is a whopping 450 million copies worldwide. Next question, what about the Holy Bible? How many copies have been printed in circulation? The answer is definitely more than 450 million. It is in the billions. It is approximately 6 billion copies have been printed as in its circulation. It is definitely unique in its circulation. Let's find out a little bit more. From Wycliffe's website, we see that there are about 6,800 languages in the world today, of which under 2,000 number of languages have the possibility of translation work yet to be done. And this translation work that have yet to be done, it addresses about 209 million people who have yet to have a Bible in their own language. This is a phenomenal figure if you translate it into percentage terms. That means about 3% of the world's population do not have the Bible in a language that they understand. Only 3% left. The Bible is definitely unique because it is the most universally translated book in the whole of history. Now, if God so loved the world, according to John chapter 3 verse 16, wouldn't he want to speak to everyone in the world in their own language? Isn't the Bible unique? And this is what Matthew chapter 24 verse 14 has to say. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. And the word nations there is ethnos, which could mean ethnic group. And then the end shall come. Now, with the rapid translation rate to address the remaining 3% of the world's population, isn't this a signal that Jesus Christ is going to come back very soon, even in 1 to 2 generations? Think about it. One of the most well-preserved manuscript in antiquity is Homer's Iliad, out of which 643 manuscripts still survive up till today. So there are 643 manuscripts for you to refer to cross-check its references, its accuracy, its coherence, and so on. 643. That's not too bad. But what about the Bible? Let's talk about the New Testament. Now, if we talk about the New Testament, how many surviving copies do we have compared to Iliad's manuscript? Are you ready? The New Testament has a whopping 24,970 copies of manuscript for you to double check its cross-referencing, its accuracy, its coherence in structure, its language reliability, and so on. 24,970 copies. The Bible is unique in its translation and circulation. It is the Word of God. Before 1947, people were doubtful whether if the Old Testament writings were reliable, because the Old Testament contains a lot of prophecies, particularly about the coming of the Messiah, the coming of Jesus Christ. And many liberal scholars contend that the prophecies may have been written after the birth of Christ. That's why it is so accurate. Because the oldest complete Hebrew manuscript that was in possession then was the Masoretic text, the Hebrew Masoretic text that is in its complete form compiled in AD 916. So whether are the prophecies, the writings, and the content accurate? Now that all changed in February or March of 1947 when a Bedouin shepherd boy was searching for a lost goat. He tossed a stone into a hole in a cliff, and to his surprise, he heard the sound of shattering pottery. And that led on to the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls, a monumental find of the century. Except for the book of Esther, every book of the Old Testament was represented in the Dead Sea Scrolls. And what's amazing is that all the 66 chapters of the book of Isaiah were found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. And the Dead Sea Scrolls are dated to be, guess what, 125 BC. That means there is a 1,000-year gap between the Masoretic text and the Dead Sea Scrolls. And what did they discover? Word for word, letter for letter, the book of Isaiah was 95% accurate. The other 5% variation consisted chiefly of obvious slips of the pen and variations in spelling. Now, most of the prophecies about the coming Messiah comes from the book of Isaiah. So being written at about 125 BC proves that the prophecies were accurate after all. Isn't the Bible unique in its accuracy, its transmission, and circulation? How many manuscripts and books do you know of that over 1,000-year period have gone through diligent transmission and copying? Indeed, it is the hand of God at work. So be it the Old Testament or the New Testament, you hold in your hands a unique book that speaks about the real history of the world. And that is something definitely that we as believers can stake our lives on and stand authoritatively upon it. This is Joseph Tan here from AnswersAcademy.info. Thanks for watching.